Alright, so true story. My apologies for the abrupt ending on that last video, but while I was literally talking about release, I suddenly had to use the bathroom. I had to run back upstairs to use the bathroom, right? It's true story. I run upstairs to use the bathroom real quick. As soon as I come out the bathroom, my mom, she's spraying air spray all over the place. She's like, cousin Jay is coming over. And it's like, what? It's a cousin I haven't seen in a really long time. His son, also my cousin, actually had a major surgery recently, and we definitely have been wondering how he's hanging in there. And he stopped by like 5 minutes after. He stopped by. Literally, he was in the neighborhood. Decided they want to see them. See, I'm mentioning this because we're literally just talking about retrograde and revisiting, right? And so, revisiting after a tough trial, right? And so I was going through my trial. His family was going through it last couple of years as well. And so what is he doing? He's revisiting. He said, I'm making my rounds. I haven't seen people in a while, and I was in the neighborhood, wanted to say hi, and then he's like, I want to let you know, you're welcome to come over sometime. Like, you don't got to be a stranger. Cause, I think my family got used to me being this loner energy, and they learned not to take it personal, which I appreciate. And every now and again, they'll actually be like, Z, like, you can come by anytime. Like, you got to call or nothing. You could just stop by. And I definitely was kicking myself in the butt a little bit about that, and about not taking people up on their offers. That's one of my, I have my own toxic traits. One of my toxic traits is, when I'm dealing with something, I get so wrapped up in dealing with it. I guess a part of me feels like I don't want to bring no negative energy to other people, or, you know what I mean? When I'm going through something, I tend to isolate, and that's just, over isolating is a bad habit. I know I need to stop doing that. So this is literally me reviewing and retrograding out loud, right? So there's that. The other thing that came to mind as I was setting up this camera and thinking about how I want to continue this conversation is don't be too prideful in life in general to take 5 steps back so that you can take 20 steps forward. That's another really bad habit I'm noticing people have is, we get used to being on a certain level and we just want to do the next thing. I feel like we really, really underestimate the power of taking it back, reeling it back, taking a step back, taking a break. That's also what retrograde is for. I feel like retrograde is really great for people who, although they hate it, the people who are workaholics, or people who are just busybodies, people who don't know how to sit still, always doing something, always getting into something, move. So those people hate retrograde, because retrograde usually forces you to calm down, to sit down. It'll cause that plan to cancel, because 9 times out of 10 you didn't need to do it. That's why I say a lot of people who so-called have tough retrogrades or hate retrogrades, it's usually somebody who's doing too much. I sit your ass down. Well, this is how my family say it. We're like, sat down somewhere. Sometimes you need to just sit down, lay down, take a nap, go to sleep. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because some people out here be literally doing too much, and so those plans get canceled, and that train delay. Those things probably saved your life a lot more than you even realize. A lot of times when we're rushing, there's a lot of details we're missing, and details we tend to underestimate how detrimental those details we miss really are, right? Sometimes it's literally life or death, right? And so there's that. And so yeah, like, I actually really enjoy retrogrades, because I enjoy learning, probably also because I understand that life is about the journey and not the destination. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And so, given all of that, retrogrades are actually really amazing periods of time where you get to remember that, where you get to remember yourself, remember your humanity, remember that you got to eat, remember, right? Remember you. Also, the other thing that came to mind, I'm just shuffling in case I feel like picking some cards. I may or may not. I don't know. Playing with them gives me something to do with my hands while I'm talking. I forgot what I was about to say. Give me a sec. Give me 1 sec. I know. I started itching because I'm pretty sure I got bit once or twice. I don't really care. I can handle 1 or 2. But I was about to say something. Yeah, some folks really right is just doing too much. But it's also much harder to it can make it, the doing too much can make it harder to make the changes. What I mean is, when you're driving in a car and you're about to meet with a sharp turn, what do you do first? You slow down. You do signal. Although a lot of people have a habit of signaling during the turn, but you're supposed to signal before the turn, because that's the point. But before you make a turn, you slow down. Before you make a turn, you slow down. So retrograde periods are also times where spirit could slow you down. Again, if you're the kind of person that's always on the go, always filling up their schedule with a bunch of crap you really don't need to be doing, it's just stuff you want to do to fill up your schedule. made up obligations because you just don't want to sit with yourself. Sometimes those are the times where the spirit can kind of interject, intervene. I feel like retrograde is kind of like a celestial intervening that could cause you to slow down so that a change can be made. Because how many times do you miss a turn? Are you just driving and talking? I've done it. Driving and talking and blah, 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 blah. Like, not that I don't know where I'm going. I've taken this road a million times before, but I was so caught up in the conversation that I missed the turn. It's like, dang, now I gotta, maybe go down the next block, maybe make a U-turn, try to come back, right? So let's get out of this habit that we have of, and to be honest, a lot of folks out here teaching that don't really need to be teaching. It's a difference between sharing and teaching. And sharing is one thing. Just share. If you're not an experienced teacher, gain some experience. Start small. But I'm saying that to say is that oftentimes folks will teach something and kind of attach their opinion to it. And so, like, say you've never heard of a retrograde, and I'm this amateur teacher, and I'm like, yeah, retrogrades can be really difficult. I start off describing it that way as a teacher. Yeah, retrogrades, those are the tough times. You got to be careful. People don't sign no contracts, and you got to watch your words. It's always the warnings, right? We have an obsession with precautions while at the same time acting completely recklessly in life in general. So it's interesting how that works. I love the contradictions of being human, right? And but a lot of times people are injecting their opinion too much when they're teaching on a subject, instead of just teaching a subject. Like, this is retrograde is when the planet appears to be going backwards, because in that moment we're moving faster than them. Like, that's actually just what it is. Like, we don't have to give everything this positive or negative connotation solely based on our experience and then make that part of the lesson. Oh yeah, retrogrades are hard. So if I literally teach it like that person, I'm already setting that person up to expect hard retrogrades. And the irony of funny, I think that's ironic, I think that's the word, but irony in that is that person might be experiencing retrogrades to teach them to show them that is exactly what they expected. And then I also during retrogrades, I'm starting to, well, maybe I'll save that. Maybe I'll save theorizing for another video. But yeah, retrogrades are actually really amazing. And retrograde can also, the real cheat code, since people love cheat codes, real cheat code to retrograde is that you can utilize retrogrades to literally fast track whatever it is you were doing. You could use the retrograde period to fast track yourself. Again, everything gets such a negative connotation, and we're only on the surface of things, and we're not looking beneath the surface of things, and we're not really learning how to like navigate with something. We're always navigating around it, and again, everything is always a damn warning, and it's kind of like, if you're putting out a bunch of negative energy, then yeah, you should be expecting maybe some harsh retrogrades. Maybe those retrogrades is gonna put you in your ass. Because that's exactly the energy you put out there. Like, I don't know, right? Actually, what I was about to theorize is like I'm curious about connection between retrogrades and karma right now. It just occurred to me, right? As if I've been putting out some not so great energy, retrograde periods is a great time for that thing to just kind of come on back around, wouldn't it, right? Oh, right. So actually what I was mentioning in the other video was getting back to yourself, right? Getting back to yourself. So what I feel like what Spirit is saying to a lot of us right now, right? I feel like what Spirit is really saying to a lot of us right now is it's not just getting back to yourself. I'm getting back to myself. Yes, I'm working out, and I've been doing some arts and crafts in the house, but it's like, get back to what you know you're here to do. Like, how many of us have been maybe distracted by these tests, right? These spiritual tests that we've been experiencing. I've been dealing with some outside interference, as well as my own self-sabotaging behaviors. Like, life is funky like that, and a lot of times when outside looking in, people will just assume that it's all self-sabotage, and it doesn't always occur to people that, I might have a habit of self-sabotaging, but at the same time, I need to also deal, with the outside interference. You got to eliminate the outside interference and deal with yourself. And I guess that literally is just a part of life, right? You got to deal with your relationships with others and your relationship with yourself at the same time. And this getting back to ourselves, I feel like, yeah, right? Because you dealt with it. If you're resonating with this and your test looked anything like mine, it's done. Like, you dealt with the outside interference, and the outside interference is now muted. You passed the test is over, class is over, and now we're on vacation, right? My cousin was just like, yeah, I'm on vacation. And so this is the summer break after class. And now you have free range to get back to what you were doing before that interference. Get back to what you were doing before the interference. Get back to that project. Get back to that YouTube channel. Get back to, I don't know, that workshop you wanted to do, that book you wanted to write. Get back to it. Get back to it. Get back to, even if maybe you didn't start anything at that time, right? And going back to the basics. What did you love to do when you were 5? what did you love to do when you were 6? I feel like a lot of times when we're saying, I don't know what to do, it's really, there's an idea in that came to mind that you think is smaller than it actually is. And so you're like, nah, because I've done it. Downplayed my own ideas, basically, right? Downplayed my own ideas. I downplayed the certain visions and stuff that would come to mind, or downplay it, but also like put it off. I have a bad habit. I definitely had a bad habit of putting things off. It's like, oh, I put things off, and I do also have a bad habit of. I'm owning my bad habits out loud. So I be talking to y'all, but I'm also healing out loud to a certain degree. But where was I gonna go with that? I'm sorry. Sometimes I get some stares, so getting back to the basics. I feel like we become adults and we leave our child self behind, and it doesn't occur to us that child in you is your genius. Children are geniuses, right? Children are geniuses. Children are brave. I have one of those nephews. I kid you not. I have one of those nephews where this person literally had no sense of fear. He's starting to learn. He still has no fear, but he's finally at 2, I think, and starting to understand that, okay, I can't jump head first off of whatever and nothing will happen to me. Like, he's been hurt. He got, of course the family's been able to prevent major injury, but sometimes you gotta let the kid, scrape their knees a little bit to learn that when you fall, you hurt yourself. Because this kid was just so fearless and had no sense of this might hurt. It was just like intrusive thought. Like he is ruled by intrusive thoughts, and he's my little Aquarius, and I absolutely fucking love it. I love it. I love how he lives in those quote unquote intrusive thoughts. All those intrusive thoughts those are just thoughts in a world that has conditioned us to how to behave. Right? The thoughts need to be intrusive. Yes, they do. I know I'm kind of going off the handle. I'm not going to ramble too much. But some of those thoughts need to intrude because your brain is filled up with a bunch of crap that somebody else put there. And so I love this kid, and so brave. So what I'm getting at is like when our child self is brave, it creates, it doesn't overthink anything, is not caught up in, they're not too caught up in what other people think. A 3 or 4 year old, they eat it because it tastes good. They do it because it feels good. They throw the thing because they was curious to see what happens if I throw this ball that way. I don't know. Where's the curiosity? Where's the childlike curiosity? Get back to that. Retrograde yourself. That's why I was like, the last video, I was like, I saw this meme that was like, I'm tired of Mercury shit. I'm in retrograde now, and I'm like, I love that. I prefer that attitude to oh no, not another retrograde. Well, they come around about 3 or 4 times a year, and there's always going to be another one. And guess what? All the planets retrograde. Mercury is just the one you hear about the most because I think that's the one that retrogrades the most because it's the closest. It retrogrades the most. Mercury is a fast-moving planet, so it definitely coincides with what I said about people who are always on the move. Sometimes you need to be sat down. Sit down. Take a breath. Take a breather. When's the last time you just breathed? Take a moment. Not necessarily to think. Right? You've done plenty of thinking. Take a moment and allow yourself to not think and just be and just flow. Retro, if you go, you know what I mean? If you want to be on top of the retrograde, get on top of it as opposed to thinking of it as something that just comes and you got to deal with it. It's always going to come. Think to yourself, well, how can I maximize retrogrades? How could I get the most out of a retrograde? How could I get out of retrogrades what other people did never thought to get out of that of a retrograde? And the real cheat sheet is using retrogrades to actually fast track your life. It doesn't necessarily, slowing down is speeding up. And again, if you don't resonate with that, I'm not explaining that one. If you're not there, you're not there. You'll get there. If you're not resistant to it, you can get there. But you slowing down does help you speed up. Nothing rests. Nothing is in complete rest. Everything moves. Even solids move. The atoms in a solid are moving. They just move too slow for my hand to pass through it, like water or air. Right? The atoms in air just moves faster. It's getting out of the way. This one can't get out the way. But yeah. Alright. Let me see. I mean, I understand, I actually said what I really wanted to say at this point. If you want to exit, I understand. If you want to hang out for the rambling, here it comes. Here comes the rambling part. I'll only do about 10 minutes of rambling. I call it rambling, but really a lot of times it's I'm practicing what I preach. Sometimes I allow myself, just because I have cards and just because I came in with what I think I wanted to talk about doesn't mean something won't come up while I'm sitting here, and so I allow it to do that. So that's why I'll just allow a little bit of time for me to do some ramblings. I'm kind of thinking about pulling a card or two, but I don't know, the cards are not really speaking to me right now. Maybe I'll do these dragon cards. Maybe I'll do these dragon cards because I haven't used my dragon cards in a little minute, and I like that the dragon cards actually have the words right on the card. Not that it doesn't come with a book, but coming out of the water into the fire. I think I'm ready to pull out my dragon. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. Opens you to crystal yellow dragon opens you to higher learning and wisdom. Oh my God, I can't see. Opens you to higher learning and wisdom. Which is, kind of what I just said about, like, going a little deeper. Deeper is higher. The deeper you go, the higher you can grow. The deeper you go, the higher you can grow. I don't know. I don't know if I'm feeling cards anymore. It's really nice out right now. I think I'm just enjoying that we have a breeze. It's not 1,000 degrees right now. The two cards, one thing I'm noticing, the two cards I just pulled is orange. Like, a part of me don't necessarily want to read the card. I'll read it, but my intuition is actually focusing more on the colors right now, the orange and the gold, which for the most part coincides with what I was saying about going back to the basics. When I think of orange is your sacral chakra. Sacral chakra in your solar plexus. Your sacral chakra, your solar plexus. And so that's self-expression in your solar plexus. That's confidence. And so those trials and tribulations that we're just coming out of, right? It was supposed to rebirth you into this person who's ready for more self-expression, because now You don't have the outside interference. You're cutting out the self-sabotage, so that when you're less self-sabotaging, you're able to be more free and more confident in your self-expression. They tend to go together, right? So it's like, am I eliminating the self-sabotage by working on my confidence? And then as I work on my confidence, I'm more confident in cutting out the bullshit. And this one says crystal yellow. This one says earth and air dragon. Earth and air. I literally just said solid and air. But yeah, earth and air, taking that breath and getting grounded within yourself, your physical body and your physical reality. If you're feeling that feeling of rebirth, then if you're rebirthed, when you're being born, you're born into a new world as far as that baby's concerned. This is all new. So allow yourself to be that baby again, and allow yourself to be curious again and explore. Even if you don't know what to do, that is something to do. Explore, get out of your head. I feel like we be in our heads trying to think. It's like, I don't know everything. I haven't experienced everything. And so when I'm feeling stagnant, that's when I actually put myself out there for just having more experiences. I've definitely been scrolling too much lately, so I know Spirit is telling me you need to take your ass outside. Let me see. It represents the perfect balance of heaven and earth. Yeah, balancing your heaven with your earth. Because I know one of my toxic traits, one of my bad habits has been being so spiritual. Don't be so spiritual that you're not enjoying your physical experience. And that is definitely one of my habits. And I call it being a spiritual workaholic, right? People assume because I don't want a 9-to-5 that I'm not also a workaholic. I'm a workaholic on myself. And I guess being kind of a nerdy energy, right? Like, we can sometimes just geek out over a thing, a subject. We can geek out over a subject and forget that a large part of being here in the world where there is other people is interaction. And so that is definitely my bad habit, is being okay being a loner. And it's like, just because I'm okay with it doesn't mean I shouldn't socialize. I'm actually a very personable person. I can go either way with it, but yeah. Living life like it's golden. Living his life like it's golden. Living his life like it's golden, right? Let's do this, y'all. Peace.